The Nuggets deserve a ton of credit for their part in this series as well, but this video is going to be mostly concerned with what the Lakers did in this series and how they could have just been a lot better. Starting out, I think the biggest thing coaching wise that Darvin Ham should have done better was just realized what the best lineup is for the team. Because to me, it was pretty clearly Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. I don't understand why he gave such a long leash to D'Angelo Russell and to a lesser extent Jared Vanderbilt as well, because Russell was just so ineffective scoring for the Lakers, and defensively he got picked apart and was a huge reason Jamal Murray went on that crazy run that he did. Not to harp on them too much, but Russell and Vanderbilt played 34 minutes, which was a lot. And in that time, they shot a collective 2 for 12 and were a minus 22 rating in that time. This wasn't something new either. They had struggled all series, so it's not like this was a one-off game by any stretch. Another coaching element was it didn't seem like the Lakers had any sort of understanding of who was guarding Murray, because there were so many times in the fast break and sort of pseudo fast break where it would be after a make, but the Nuggets were pushing the ball pretty quickly. The Lakers were just so confused as to who was guarding Murray, and that just cannot happen because I think if you have Schroeder out there, that is not an issue because everybody knows that Schroeder is the defensive specialist and he's going to be on Murray, but they didn't have anybody that was really capable of guarding Murray, and it was kind of unsurprising that Murray went off for as much as he did. I think a really big tell for how this series played out was shown in the Jamal Murray adjustments, where Denver stopped switching Murray onto LeBron, which was very much the correct decision. It was giving the Lakers a ton of easy offense with that mismatch. But inversely, the Lakers did not stop switching LeBron onto Jamal Murray. And really, the only one in their initial starting five that was capable of guarding Murray was Austin Reeves, in my opinion, because he's at least a similar size and is a solid defender in his own right. And LeBron just did not have energy throughout this series, was not a good defender for really any stretch. So that was something that the Nuggets did correctly and the Lakers did incorrectly. And I think that was a major push for the Nuggets. And speaking of LeBron, I don't know how he's avoided criticism throughout this series because he has just been okay throughout, and he has been so inefficient as a scorer. And for whatever reason, he's taken it upon himself to make that the main aspect of his game as well, because he's been a good rebounder and good playmaker still, but for whatever reason, he just keeps shooting these threes that he's not capable of making, at least as it stands right now. He was 42% from the field and had 23 points. That is just not good enough. And it really is frustrating because he was taking shots away from Anthony Davis, who had a great game. Davis had 28 points and 61% from the field, in addition to his 18 rebounds. At this point, there's no argument as to who the best player on the Lakers is. It's very clearly Anthony Davis, even with his wild inconsistency. And it's just so frustrating to see LeBron keep settling for these threes, because I think the reason is that he's devoid of energy at this point, which is totally understandable. He has played about as much basketball as anybody in history. But at the end of the day, it's hurting the Lakers because it's a shot that he can't really make, and the Nuggets were still contesting the shots for the most part. So it wasn't even like he was left alone like Jared Vanderbilt gets left alone. So I know I talked very bleakly over the Lakers, but I don't think this season was a failure. I think they could have been a lot more competitive against the Nuggets, but to turn around this team from not even being in the play in for much of the year to being a series away from the NBA Finals is pretty incredible. And I talked really lowly of Darvin Ham, but I don't think he should be fired because I think few coaches would have figured out that Hachimura on Jokic was the correct matchup. And I think a lot of his mistakes he can learn from and improve upon in the upcoming years. So I don't think he should be fired. I think this was a pretty poor series on his part, but it wasn't like he was completely clueless. He did well in some aspects and really struggled in some others. Yeah, even though this is a Lakers video, shout out to the Nuggets because all we've heard this year is that the West is weak, and I think that is true for basically every team aside from the Nuggets because the Nuggets are a real number one seed. And I think this series has shown it because they've won tight games against the Lakers, they've won in basically any fashion you want.